Next is group codes. Numeric group codes are used to represent complex items or events involving two or more pieces of related data. So, sabi nga dyan, yung group codes ginagamit para i-represent yung mga complex items or events involving two or more pieces of related data. So, dito, mas mapapadali yung way ng pag-present ng mga large amount of data. And then, yung group codes is nagko-consist din to ng zones or field na nagbibigay ng specific meaning bawat code. For example, a department store chain might code sales order transaction from its branch stores. So, yung table na to is example ng isang sales order transaction sa isang branch store. So, bawat code na yan is merong specific meaning. So, yung store number 04 is nagre-represent siya ng pinaka-mall store sa isang location. And then, yung department number 09 is nire-represent naman niya yung sporting goods department kung saan nanggagaling yung mga items na ibebenta. Next is item number. So, sa item number naman, nire-represent nito yung mga nabenta na item or yung mga sales transaction na nangyari sa isang branch store. And then, next is yung salesperson. So, yung salesperson is ito yung employee na nakabenta ng item. So, sa example na yan, makikita natin na useful yung paggamit ng group codes kasi makikita agad yung mga transaction na nangyayari sa bawat store. And then, useful to sa mga corporate manager kasi mas madali nilang ma-measure yung profitability ng bawat store and mako-compare nila yung performance ng lahat ng store sa isang department. And then, matatrack din nila yung mga movement ng specific inventory items and ma-evaluate nila yung sales performance ng bawat employee. Yung group codes, mas marami siyang advantages compare sa sequential and block codes. So, ano nga ba yung mga advantages ng group codes? They facilitate the representation of large amount of diverse data. So, isang advantage nga ng paggamit ng group code is pinapadali nito na i-present or ipakita yung mga large amount data sa mas madaling way. Katulad ng example kanina na napakita agad yung mga transaction na nangyari sa isang store. Nakita agad natin yung mga sales order na nangyari sa isang store. So, unlike siguro if gagamit ng sentence form para i-explain or ipakita yung mga transaction na nangyari sa isang store is parang ang complicated and time consuming. So, parang ayun yung advantage ng paggamit ng group codes. Mas pinadali yung way niya para i-present yung data ng bawat store. Next is, they allow complex data structures to be represented in a hierarchical form that is logical and more easily remembered by humans. So, inaalaw nila ang complex data structure para i-represent sa isang hierarchical form na in a way na mas madaling maintindihan ng bawat isa. And last advantage of group codes, they permit detailed analysis and reporting both within an item class and across different classes of items. So, next is disadvantages of group codes. So, ano yung mga disadvantages ng group codes? Arbitrary information and overuse. Overuse kasi yung group codes can effectively present diverse information na pwedeng mag-lead ng overuse. And then, yung overuse kasi, nag-increase siya ng storage cost and pwede ring mag-promote ng clerical errors and increase processing time and effort. Next code is alphabetic codes, used for many of the same purposes as numeric codes, and can be assigned sequentially or may be used in block and group coding techniques. So, yung alphabetic codes, same lang din siya ng numeric codes. Yung numeric codes, nabanggit siya ng previous reporter na kayang i-represent yung whole classes of items and can be assigned sequentially or in alphabetical order. Kasi sa numeric codes, nare-represent niya yung mga items in ascending or descending order. Advantages of alphabetic codes: capacity to represent large number of items. So, may kakayanan to na i-represent yung mga large number of items through the use of alphabetic codes or alphabetic characters na may kasamang numeric codes. So, tinatawag ito na alphanumeric codes, and then can represent up to 26 variation per field. So, kaya nito mag-represent ng 26 blocks. Unlike kanina dun sa previous example sa charts of account na nabanggit ng previous reporter sa block codes, is 10 blocks lang yung kaya niyang i-present, and then yung sa may alphabetic codes, kaya nitong mag-present ng 26 blocks, and yung 2-digit sequential version ng code na yon na 26, ito times lang sa 26 is kaya niya mag-present ng 676 item each. So, sa paggamit ng alphabetic codes, makikita natin na may geometric increase in the potential for data representation. So next is disadvantages of alphabetic codes. Difficulty rationalizing the meaning of codes that had been sequentially assigned, and users tend to have difficulty sorting records that are recorded alphabetically. So, dito yung disadvantages nito, nahihirapan yung mga users na i-explain yung meaning ng bawat code. Next code is mnemonic codes. Alphabetic characters used as acronyms and other combination that convey meaning. So, yung mnemonic codes, ito yung mga alphabetic characters in the form of acronyms. So, bawat acronym mayroong meaning. And then, yung combination ng mnemonic and numeric codes conveys good deals of information. So for example, a student enrolling in college courses may enter the following course codes on the registration form. So, pamilyar na tayo dito kasi madalas naman natin itong nakikita kapag nag-enroll tayo. Nilalagay natin yung course code sa may registration form natin. So, masasabi natin na kapag nakita natin itong course type, masasabi natin yung ACCTG is for accounting, and then yung PSYC is for psychology, and then yung MGT is for management, and MKTG is for marketing. And then, yung course number naman, ito yung sequential number portion code ng bawat course type na nag-i-indicate ng level ng bawat course. And then, yung another example, dito sa subject natin na CIS, ang course code nito is ACCTG 5 per accounting 5. So, another example of mnemonic code is assigning state code in mailing addresses. So, for example, itong code na yan is NYCAOK. NY is for New York, CA is California, OK is for Oklahoma. So, ganun lang yung mnemonic codes. So, ang advantage ng mnemonic code is the mnemonic coding scheme does not require the user to memorize meaning. So, advantage nito, hindi naman nire-require yung mga users na i-memorize yung bawat meaning ng bawat code. Kasi, bawat code conveys high degree information about the item na nire-represent. So, disadvantages of mnemonic codes: limited usability and availability. So, although yung mnemonic codes is useful siya for representing classes of items, limited yung ability niya to represent item within a class. So, for example, yung entire class of accounts receivable, pwede siyang i-represent by mnemonic code na AR, pero we would quickly exhaust meaningful combination of alphabetic characters kapag nag-attempt tayo na i-represent ito ng sa individual accounts that make up this class. So, yung account na to na AR would be represented better. Mas magandang i-represent ito gamit yung sequential or block or group coding techniques. So, next topic is general ledger system. So, yung pager na yan characterizes the general ledger system as a hub connected to the other system of the firm through spokes of information flows. So, yung pager na yun is nagka-characterize the general ledger system bilang isang hub na connected sa iba pang mga system ng firm or business through spoke information flows. Next is validate collected transaction and maintain accounting controls. So, itong general ledger system, ito yung heart of financial accounting kasi nga, minamanage niya yung mga cash accounting entries and mga financial reports ng business. And then, yung system na to, ginagamit din para mag-produce ng financial statement para ipakita yung result ng mga business activities. Next is TPS subsystem process various aspect of economic events. So dito, pinaprocess ng mga subsystem ng TPS and different aspect ng mga economic events na nakarecord sa kanilang respective journal accounts. And then, yung summaries ng transaction flow into the GLS or General Ledger System is magiging sources ito sa pag-input para sa financial reporting system. Next is GLS provides data for the management reporting system. Siyempre, yung GLS or General Ledger System, nagbibigay din ito ng data for management reporting system. Ito yung mga internal or discretionary ng reporting system. The journal voucher, source of input to the general ledger. So, kasi nga yung journal voucher is isa tong document kung saan nakastore yung mga essential information tungkol sa accounting transaction ng business. Next is used to represent summaries of similar transaction, identifies the financial amounts and affected general ledger accounts. So, yung journal voucher, pwede rin siyang magamit para i-represent yung summaries ng transaction or yung mga single unique transaction, and ina-identify nito yung mga financial amount na nakaka-apekto sa general ledger accounts. Next is routine transaction, adjusting entries and closing entries are all entered in GL or general ledger sa pamamagitan ng journal vouchers. And then, yung responsible manager must approve journal voucher kasi nag-o-offer sila ng control against sa mga unauthorized GL entries or yung mga unauthorized general ledger entries. The GLS database. The GLS database includes a variety of files, whereas this will vary from firm to firm. The following examples are representative. So the first example is General Ledger Master File. It is the principal file in the GLS database, and it is based on organization charts of accounts. So, itong General Ledger Master File, ito yung extension ng charts of accounts sa isang GLS database. And then, bawat charts of account nagko-correspond to sa General Ledger based sa accounting system. And then, ang purpose ng General Ledger Master File is para mag-store ng accounting balances na ipepresent sa reports or para mag-produce ng business financial statements. Next file is General Ledger History File. So, it is used for comparative financial support. So, yung General Ledger History File is ginagamit sa pag-provide ng historical financial data sa mga past situation ng business activities. So, makakatulong yung information file na to para i-compare yung mga current financial reports ng business. So, next is journal voucher file. All journal vouchers of the current period. So, sa journal voucher file, nagko-contain to ng total collection of journal vouchers na naiprocess sa current year. Bibigay or nagpo-provide yung journal voucher file ng lahat ng records ng general ledger transaction, and then it replaces the traditional general journal. Next is journal voucher history file. Journal vouchers of past period for audit trail. So, yung journal voucher history file, nagko-contain to ng mga journal vouchers sa mga nakaraang taon. So, itong historical information na to, sinusuportahan yung management, stewardship, responsibility to account for resource utilization. And then, both current and historical journal voucher files is importante sa PRIM audit trail. So, next is responsibility center file. Contains the revenues, expenditures, and other resource utilization data for each responsibility center in organization. So, ginagamit yung responsibility center files para mag-collect ng data regarding sa revenues, expenditures, and relevant resource ng bawat responsibility center. And last file is budget master file. Budget data by responsibility centers per MRS. So, yung budget master file is ginagamit para mag-create ng budget amount para sa individual general ledger account. And then, itong budget master file is helpful siya and useful para sa mga small manufacturing business. The financial reporting system. The law dictates management responsibility for providing stewardship information to external parties. This reporting obligation is met via the FRS. Much of the information provided takes the form of standard financial statements, tax returns, and documents required by regulatory agencies such as the Securities and Exchange Commission. The primary recipients of financial statement information are external users such as stockholders, creditors, and government agencies. So, ang pinaka-objective ng financial reporting system is para mag-provide ng financial information about sa reporting entity doon sa mga users of financial statement na useful para sa paggawa ng decision about providing resources to the entity as well as other financial decision. And then, yung financial information, kasama dito yung mga summary of transaction ng isang business sa loob ng 12 months. And then, yung financial reporting system is ginagamit din para i-monitor yung effectiveness ng isang business, and tumutulong din to para mag-conclude ng relevant transaction. Sophisticated users with homogeneous information needs. Because the community of external users is vast and their individual information needs may vary, financial statements are targeted at the general audience. So dito, they are prepared on the proposition na yung mga audience compromises sophisticated users with relatively homogeneous information needs. So, in other words, ina-assume nila na yung mga users ng financial reports ay maiintindihan yung convention and accounting principles na naka-applied sa financial system. Next is financial reporting procedures. So, this is the final step in the overall accounting process that begins in the transaction cycles. The process begins when a clean slate, at the start of new fiscal year. Only the balance sheet accounts are carried forward from the previous year. From this point, the following step occur. The first step is capture the transaction. So dito, sa loob ng bawat transaction cycle, dapat yung mga transaction ng business is naka-record sa appropriate transaction file. And then, next step is record in a special journal. So, yung bawat transaction ay dapat nakalagay sa journal yung mga frequently occurring classes of transaction katulad ng sales, dapat nakalagay ito sa special journal. And then, yung infrequently classes of transaction naman, dapat nakalagay naman ito sa naka-record ito sa general journal or nakadirect sa journal vouchers. So, next step is post to subsidiary ledger. So, dito, dapat yung mga details ng bawat transaction ay dapat nakapost or naka-record sa mga affected subsidiary accounts. So, next step is post to general ledger. Periodically, journal vouchers, sinasummarize dito yung mga entries sa special journals at subsidiary ledgers at dapat naka-prepared ito or nakahanda ito para i-post sa general ledger. Next step, prepare the unadjusted trial balance. So, at the end of accounting period, yung ending balance ng bawat account sa general ledger ay dapat ilagay sa isang worksheet and dapat na-evaluate na in total for debit-credit equality. Next step, make adjusting entries. So, dito, yung adjusting entries is ginagawa sa isang worksheet para i-correct yung mga errors at para ipakita yung mga transaction na hindi na i-record katulad ng depreciation. Step, journalize and post adjusting entries. So, dito, dapat ang journal voucher para sa adjusting entries is prepared at na-post na yung mga entries sa mga appropriate accounts sa general ledger. Next step, prepare the adjusted trial balance. So, from adjusted balances, yung trial balance is dapat prepared na at dapat nandun na lahat yung mga entries na dapat magre-reflect sa isang financial statement. So, next is prepare the financial statement. So, dito yung balance sheet, income statement, and statement of cash flow is dapat naka-ready na din gamit yung adjusted trial balance. Next step, journalize and post the closing entries. So, dito, yung journal vouchers ay naka-prepare para sa mga entry that close out the income statement accounts pero temporary lang, and then dapat mai-transfer yung income or loss sa retained earnings. And then after that, lahat ng entries ay dapat nakapost na sa general ledger. Last step, prepare the post-closing trial balance. So dito, yung trial balance worksheet nagko-contain ng balance sheet accounts and may now be prepared to indicate the balances being carried forward para sa susunod na accounting periods. So, ito yung illustration ng financial reporting process. XBRL, Re-engineering Financial Reporting. So, dito, sa online reporting of financial data, naging competitive necessity for public type organization. Currently, karamihan sa mga organization accomplish this by placing financial statement and financial reports sa kani-kanilang mga website katulad ng HTML or hypertext markup language documents. So, sa documents na to, ang documents na to is pwedeng ma-download ng mga users such as SEC, financial analysts, and other interested parties. Pero yung HTML reports na to is hindi madaling ma-process sa pamamagitan ng IT automation. So, ang solution dito is extensible business reporting language. So, yung Extensible Business Reporting Language is kung saan ang internet standard ay ginawa for business reporting and information exchange. So, ang objective ng XBRL is para ma-facilitate yung publication, exchange, at para sa pag-process ng financial and business information. And then, XBRL is derivative of another internet standard called XML or Extensible Markup Language. So, may explain to ng next reporter. So, ang next reporter is si Miss Donita Rantayo.